So let's take a look at what this function is doing. So if I load my parameter file and now search for this function, we can see what it is doing. So first of all, it is selecting a few statistics. Notice that the original table have several statistics, but we only want to see it for the comparison for a selected view. In this case is mean, standard deviation, coefficient of variation, and maximum value. In the next line, we create an empty list. So with that empty list, what we're doing is we are adding tuples with the statistics repeated twice. So this is gonna be mean and mean, then standard deviation and standard deviation, then cross-validation and cross-validation, and then maximum and maximum. And then on the next line, what we're doing is we are creating a list of the first element is the list we just created with all the statistics. And the second element is another list with original and capped repeated as many times as the number of statistics. So the length of this part of the list will also match this part of the list. So this is basically creating a list with two sets of lists where each statistics repeats twice, and this repeats as many times as the statistics with original and the capped value. So what this does is it just creates the list with the correct structure for Pandas DataFrame to create a data frame that has a multi-index structure. So if I go to the original table and I see how the index work, for each row of this table, we have a unique index with a unique item. And in the output of our capping table, we have for each one of the rows, we actually have two sets of indexes. So the first one is defined by the statistics, and the second one is defined by being original or capped. So this structure for the index array is created by this part of the code. And we just initialize an empty table with those indexes, and the columns are just the names of the domains. So that's the outside and inside. So at this point, this table is an empty table. So in the next few lines of code, what we're doing is looking at the first unique compare object, which is the unique compare object that was calculated without any capping, therefore the original statistics. So we generate the table, and then for each one of the columns of that table and for each one of the statistics, we transfer the value of that table to our new table with the two item indexing. And in this case is the original data. So we are copying everything from our original statistics to this new table that we are creating where the index is original. So that's populating this row, this row, this row, and this row. And the capped row is still empty. And that's what comes next. So now what we do, we go to the unique compare underscore cap, and we generate the table of statistics, and we iterate over the domains and the columns and the statistics, and we populate the rows where we have the capped value. That will populate these rows. And then once that's completed, I have a completed table and I can just return, which is what we see on screen.